straight into issues for today. Please stay tuned.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
Atn covers it all on Atn Politics today.
Front lines across the ocean. Today, and beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
This ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
Atn covers it all on Atn Politics today.
Front lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought a very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on Atn Politics today.
In the studios of Atlantic Television Network, this is ATN Politics. Once again, I welcome you, and I am your host, Raymond Ken Mbata. My guest today is a political analyst and a friend of the house. I'm talking of none other than Vincent Ogenekewe Okoro. It's a pleasure, sir.
Always a pleasure to be in the house.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's head on to the first story for discussions. Ahead of the September 21st governorship election in Edo State, INEC has reaffirmed its commitment to guard the decision of the electorate. INEC's chairman Mahmoud Yakubu said that the responsibility of choosing the next governor lay solely in the hands of the Edo voters. Yakubu also disclosed that the funds required to conduct the elections had been disbursed at both the state and local government levels. Right, so INEC has the knife and the yam and is ready to cut into pieces and to cook and serve the electorates.
The people of Edo State.
Of Edo State.
And Nigerians in extension.
Exactly, and there may be worrisome there might be some worries from some quarters concerning being free and fair, being non-affiliated per se. But we are in Nigeria. We do know that behind the scenes things could go on. How firm are we in INEC's resolve to remain unbiased and to present a free and fair election to the people of Edo State?
The INEC conducting an election in Nigeria, taking responsibility to conduct the election in Nigeria by INEC has always been a topic of public concern. Now, Yakubu, the National Electoral Chairman, have come out to tell us that they are prepared. They are going to be unbiased. They are going to deliver one of the freest and fairest elections so far in the history of Nigeria.
Okay.
They will even come in other time to tell us that, as usual, every election is a litmus test to them. So the litmus they've been testing all this while, since 1999, I don't know if those litmus get melted by the solution that makes it impossible for them to have a result that Nigerians can rely on, that makes it. Each time INEC is conducting any election at any level in Nigeria, they term it a litmus test of their own ability to deliver the expectation of the masses as far as our latent democracy is concerned.
Exactly.
Now, the only thing that we can do, or the only thing that the people of Edo State can do right now, is to rely on the words of INEC and then see how they can hold them accountable for whatever will happen in Edo State, as far as the core responsibility of INEC to deliver free and fair election in Edo State is concerned. The only onus is on the people of Edo State, the voters, to see that the guideline that has been outlined by INEC in the conduct of that election is strictly abide by. And then they should not also conduct themselves in a way that will give INEC, loopholes, the room to do what is abnormal or what is non-normal as far the candidate preferred by the people, via the ballot is concerned. So what I'm trying to say is this. Now we have also seen situation where INEC as an electoral body comes to deliver its mandate to conduct an election, and then the people, as it were, or some element among the people, especially when it comes to the politicians and those who are faithful to the politician, trying to influence INEC to even compromise the process. So it is also on the part of the people to make sure that they play their own part to enable INEC deliver on its mandate, so that there will not be excuses as to why, there will be no excuses on the part of the people as to why the electoral process and the result thereof does not deliver to expectation according to the promises that have been made by INEC.
Okay, but I think the Labour Party candidate, as of yesterday, was making complaints concerning violence, that he had traversed the local government areas in Edo State twice during the campaigns, and that it all had trails of violence, that some of them have been reported to the IGP. But we are very close to the elections itself. Do we have faith that there will be no violence, there will be no casualties during these elections coming in Edo State?
Okay, first and foremost, the person of Akpata being the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate, I will first and foremost drop an advice for him to concentrate on winning election in Edo State. Him and his party should concentrate on seeing how they can, get the people on their side. Because you cannot tell me that everybody, will buy into politics of violence as far as that election is concerned. And then, if we check antecedents, you will agree, or our listeners will agree with me, that when we are talking about electoral violence, it can be widespread, but it's not something that engulfs majority of the population, and the voters in this sense. So Akpata should concentrate more of his effort on getting the people, to his own side. He should concentrate more on winning via the ballot. Now, we don't want a situation where, witch cry in the night and then the child die in the morning. As far as this issue of preempting that there's going to be violence during the election is concerned, we have seen situations where during campaigns, certain political parties are holding their campaign, then certain elements will come up with violence to disrupt them so that the people will not get to hear. And then we also know that sometimes there are certain subplots by politicians to score political points by making arrangements for violence, to take place, so that to look as if it is the other party. So that is the reason why I will advise Akpata to concentrate on getting the people to his own side. Now, coming to the election, pre and during the election itself, we cannot, in every 12 disciples of Jesus, we are going to have a Judas. In every 12 children of Jacob, we have a Joseph. So, so we cannot exempt the fact that Edo State is going to, we are going to see an election in Edo State that is going to be completely free of violence. It is led for the political players, the public institutions such as the police and the INEC itself, to make sure they are on top of their game, to minimize the incidence of violence as far as the election in that state is concerned. Then the stakeholders in this election need to also understand that Edo State is not an easy ground. If you look at the antecedents of public unrest, protests, and what have you, you see that Edo State is always on the front burner. So it is therefore a call on all the major stakeholders to act in a way that seems right, that is right, to ensure that actions and inactions that could lead to violence in Edo State are minimized, so that those who decide that their stock in trade is to ferment trouble, cause public unrest, and disrupt the election will have no straws to grab as far as perpetrating the supposed violence is concerned.
Okay. He also, talking of Abata of the Labour Party, he put most of the blame for the violence on the foot of the conflict between the PDP and the APC. And the PDP and APC in Edo State have really fought dirty during this campaign. Do you foresee that they might be the cause of the violence that might come up, if it does come up?
Okay, I will still look at it from the two angles. The angle of propaganda,
okay,
and the angle of people actually venting how they feel. Now, let me start from the side of people venting how they feel. Now, we see situations where certain expectations are not met. Now, there was an outcry on the part of the APC that certain public institutions or public space were shut down in order to inhibit the progress or the contact between other political parties that are non-PDP, from accessing the people. Now, the former governor of that state, the person of Senator Adams Ochomole, in one of the campaigns, made the public to understand that they came to access a public school that he built as it were, and then they met the place shut, and they were informed that there is a directive from the state government that such a public space are not available for political campaign. Then, assume if where simple logic comes in is, if the governor and his party are equally not accessing such public facilities, but where they are accessing such public facility, then we are going to see a situation where the other political parties will start raising voices. There is going to be a revolt, especially by those who do not appreciate the laws guiding the actions and inactions of the citizens of this country and of that state. So now I just try to paint a scenario that could trigger violence as far on the part of when the situation is not normal, but on the part of compromise of what it seems to be right. Now then if you also look at certain we have many times where electoral material, for instance, arrive polling unit late. Then people, now there could be a tangible reason, there could be sound reason why that could occur. But we find a situation where what could be white for one person may not be the same for another. So meaning that the reason that INEC officials may give for arriving late to the electoral, or INEC as a body may give for arriving late with electoral material, may not be acceptable to the people. Before you know, those who cannot control themselves, who does not appreciate that this nation can be guided by the laws that have been enacted, will start taking laws into their hand, and then we see violence. So now I just try to paint a situation where it will look in the eyes of the public that such violence is warranted. Then on the other hand, which is the propaganda angle, is a situation where violence is orchestrated and perpetrated by political players in order to smear the image and win the image of the opposition and win public sympathy. So these are the two angles in which such can happen. And then it is on, I will not say it is on record, rather it is a public opinion that the two main political parties in Nigeria, being the APC and the PDP, in certain quarters, in certain states, certain local governments, certain ward units, just mentioning, have always had clashes. In fact, violence is not only perpetrated when people carry arm alone. We can have verbal abuses, propaganda, which many times are not actually meant to push narrative that will serve the interests of the people, but rather to see how they can get one over the opposition. Such acts are violence as it were, and then they are also a trigger for violence. For instance, we can see what happened between the former governor of that state, the person of Atn Politics, and the wife of the current governor, where they were accusing each other of infidelity, and then one being barren and the other not being barren. Of course, these people have followers, and such clash of wealth.
Yes.
To themselves it may be a joke, to just make one feel better and the other one feel worse. But on the part of now, if you go to the media, if you go to social media, you will see how the public perceives such fight. Such a verbal war between both parties. So we see a situation where over time the PDP and the APC have not been able to have a sound record when it comes to conduct in the public space is concerned. So if one is predicting that such there could be violence erupting emanating from these two parties, then it is not out of place. And finally it is a call on the stakeholders, especially when it comes to the security, the INEC, to make sure they have processes and the framework in place to checkmate excesses that can result to violence in this election that is coming up in Edo State. Because we don't want a situation where Nigerians are hungry and then they will now be caught in the web of violence that will eventually take their lives.
Okay. Let's go over to the next story. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Mr. Peter Obi, on Tuesday joined the Labour Party governorship campaign train to canvass support for the gubernatorial candidate of the party in the September 21st, 2024 governorship elections in Edo State, Olumide Apata. The presence of the two-term governor of Anambra State boosted the campaign rally held at different locations within the Benin metropolis, where Obi urged eligible voters in the state to come out en masse to cast their votes for the party. Obi assured the people that the Labour Party gubernatorial flag bearer will fix the state and move it forward, adding that the party in the government of the state would reduce the current hardship being felt in the state. And I want to ask, where has Obi been all this while in Edo State? And Edo State seemed to be like Edo State is touted to be like the launching pad of the obedient movement, the states of the erstwhile or the embattled national chairman Abure, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And a lot of followers of the Labour Party. But he is coming just at the twilight of the elections, of which Apata has been alone collecting the grubs and the stipends per se from that have been dropped from the support that APC and the PDP has been enjoying.
Yeah, okay.
So, do you wish that he came earlier or he came at the right time?
Well, first and foremost, I will look at the person of the former governor of Anambra State, the flag bearer of the Labour Party in the last election, the face of the obedient movement, and then I meet Mr. Consumption to Production Economy as somebody who have not really impressed me as far leadership, especially post governance of Anambra State is concerned. Now you can see what is happening in the Labour Party since before and after the 2023 election. Now can we say that Peter Obi, His Excellency Peter Obi, has offered purposeful leadership as far his party is concerned, as the face of that party, as the number one, as the leader of that party, by the position bestowed on him as the undisputed flag bearer of that party in the past election. So if you ask me, I would say that he hasn't done well. Now, looking at Edo State, it's not now, it is expected that far before now, we're supposed to be seeing the presence of Peter Obi well felt, as far the politics or the politicking leading to the election in that state, the gubernatorial election in that state is concerned. If you ask Apata Olumide if he wants Obi and his entourage to have been with him earlier or as he's coming now, I think I would have preferred that Peter Obi should have been with him long before now. And if you ask me, I will say the same thing. Now, the people, the voters in that state, we even be looking at, or okay, let me say Labour Party in that state, we'll be looking at Peter Obi as that angel that will come to put icing on the cake as far as their fortune in that election is concerned. And we are coming by this time. Where we will even see a situation where the power of, or the power and pattern of APC and PDP during this campaign period in that state would have taken a different dimension, assuming it had come earlier, you know, to spice up what the Labour Party and its candidate is trying to do in that state. But, you know, you can see what the backing that the candidate of the APC has been having. Every time it goes out, you see the likes of Adams Oshomole and other past leaders of that, or other both past leaders and public office holders who have relevance in that state and the nation. You see their backing, you know, on the candidate of the APC. Yeah. Then the governor of the state and his own cartel has always been behind their own candidate. But all this while, whether on channels or wherever public campaign, you have always been seen apart as a lone star, you know. And then, if Peter Obi is telling us that he's not sensitive to the plight of Apata as the candidate of the Labour Party, you know, then it's a big minus on his person. So, in my opinion, it's rather arriving late after the dice have been casted.
Do you see this happening because of the extant dichotomy that has been the issue of the day in the Labour Party, with Abure being on one part and Nenadi Usman being on the other part, and also there have been pronouncements by Abure also that the tickets given to Oti, Alex Oti of Abia State, and also to Peter Obi for the governorship and the presidential tickets for 2027 have been revoked and open to everybody. Do you think maybe they have been looking on where Apata would merge with? Is Apata going to be with Abure, or is going to be on their own part, and maybe they have decided that this is the time to pitch tents with him? And do you think the Labour Party and their politics had robbed this young man of the earlier support he would have enjoyed, or some other reasons might be the case?
Okay. You know, first and foremost, I'm looking at a national versus state politics dichotomy. Okay. There, the person of Abure is playing at the national. Yeah. Why Apata, in as much as he must have the endorsement of the national, you know, is at the state level. Now, if you look at the body language of Apata so far, he's been a candidate who have expressed confidence heading to this election is concerned. And there have never been much issues as far as candidacy and then also the support from the national is concerned. We can say that from the national, they've been quiet, but we cannot say that there has been, you know, the monkey hand in the soup as far as the candidacy of Apata is concerned. So then on the person of Obi and other Labour Party's leaders, you know, they haven't done well. Now you are not just an opposition party. You are a minor opposition party. Labour Party across the whole country have Abia State. Benue is the Reverend Father in Benue State. Is it Labour Party? No, it's APC. Good. So they have only Labour Party as the state where they are hankering. Now this is a big opportunity, given the characters in APC and PDP. I'm sorry to say, in Edo State, we expected that the Labour Party will keep their differences aside at the national level and team up with Apata, give him all the necessary support, win the voters in that state over. In fact, try the best they can to see how both the police and INEC can do the right thing towards the election. And who knows, Apata will become the governor of that state to their own advantage. As it is today, the Labour Party, with the sympathy of the obedient movement, seems to be the party of the ordinary Nigerian today. But unfortunately, the leaders of that party, especially on the person of Peter Obi, have not been able to stand to be counted, you know, to make this country And if people understand that there could be light at the end of the tunnel if they are given a chance. And we have seen exactly their shortcomings. We have seen it right there in Edo State. By the way, the candidates of that party have been grossly abandoned. Every day I listen to a party on the radio, on the television during the campaign. You know, it's just like a lone bird flying over the sky. And the only God will know if he will ever land successfully with his feet. And we really hope that it's not going to crash on his back and the Lord is feathers withered away.
The Labour Party still has a trump card to play. They have a large following concerning the obedient movement. In fact, the obedient movement just recently started. They got UNUSA as a national coordinator for obedient movement worldwide, and he has proceeded to say that he is going to be registering all members of the obedient movement, of which they are even making mincemeat of the Kwakwansia movement, and saying that the Kwakwansia movement doesn't have as much reach as they have. And not to talk of our little movement here in our dear River State, which is the same network, the movement. We are beginning to see that there's this network of movements coming up, but still, at the forefront of it is the obedient movement. Is the obedient movement going to pull up any trump card to be able to level up to what Apata might have lost but might gain during the elections? Do you see that forthcoming?
Okay. Apata as a person,
yeah,
we can say that it's a member of the obedient movement automatically.
Okay.
You know, it's a youth, and then, you know, the drivers of the obedient movement are the youth of this country.
Yeah.
You know, majority of them are the youth of the country. And then looking at other movements, you know, Sim Vanguard, Simplified, Kwankwasoya, Red Cap movement.
Yeah.
Now, Kwankwaso is more or less a regional, Kwankwasoya movement is more or less a regional movement, especially that is domiciled in the Kano State, where the governor hails from. Then, the former governor hails from. Then in River State here, we have the Simplified movement. You know, I wonder where that movement is heading anyway, so that by the way. Then the obedient movement is something that has gained national face. So looking at those states, I can say that almost every person who have been dissatisfied with leadership in that state over time can be classified to be sympathetic to the obedient movement or actual members of the obedient movement.
Okay.
So that is a big plus. I think if you ask Apata, he will be able to admit that where he derives his strength from is on the fact that he has that movement by his side, which I think is also a member as a youthful candidate. He's also a member. So that is where one of the angle where deriving is confidence. Now, heading to the election, of course, the obedient movement can go a very long way to see where the pendulum swings at the end of the day. And then Apata will be hoping that to be to his favor.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Right here in the studios of Atlantic Television Network, we have been discussing with Ogenekewe Vincent Okoro, a political analyst. And we want to say that even as the forthcoming elections in River State and even across the nation gears up, we here at Atlantic Television Network are ready and open for advert placements, bookings, commercials, and you can connect with us on our social media handles at least, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, and watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. So we are going to go up north to Kano State, where at least 20 aspirants seeking elective offices in the forthcoming local government elections in Kano State have tested positive for multiple drugs by the NDLEA. The NDLEA commander in the state, Abubakar Idris Ahmad, confirmed this to the press on Tuesday in his office. He said some of the aspirants tested positive for drugs like opioid found in codeine, THC found in cannabis, and benzodiazepines and nicotine. He, however, said that so far, no female aspirant has tested positive so far. He explained that only NNPP had so far presented its aspirants for the drug screening ahead of submissions of the candidate list to the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission, which would finally conduct verification for all candidates. The commission has fixed October the 26th to conduct local government elections into 44 chairmanship and 484 councillorship positions by the 18 registered political parties. Do you see that as a good sign? That, I mean, a party, I know it's just the NNPP, I mean, and there are 18 other parties, there are 17 other parties, but the NNPP has set the stage, has set the pace in bringing out their governorship, their chairmanship candidates, about 44 of them, and about 20 or 22 of them failed drug tests. Do you see that as a good sign? Should it be adopted nationally, or it should just be a thing for the regional politics?
If taking drugs, being drunk, and then
hard drugs,
getting high,
yes,
banned
substances,
can help us move from consumption to production in the wealth of Obi, then no problem now. Maybe immediately we are done, we should go for...
Where did that come out from, Mr. Vincent?
Well, I'm trying to imagine how a nation where people are coming to lead the public, and then this is the kind of news we are hearing. And then not just one, not just two, a whopping 20 persons, that close to 50%.
Exactly. 50%.
In just a single political party.
Exactly.
So where are we going to from here? So to me, it's a no-no. But unfortunately, this is where we are. And it's the reality. And in fact, as a matter of fact, we are going to have a situation where now the drugs are not, it's not something you go to the river to fetch.
No.
You don't go to the middle of the road and then you get these drugs. They spend money on them.
They are banned substances.
Then we are beginning to see that now when people are aspiring for political office, they get some certain support, including financial support. So we are even seeing a situation where there's even increase in the consumption of these banned substances heading to the election by these candidates. And it will only triple and quadruple if care is not taken by the time they will get into office. So what do you now expect from such humans, you know, in the corridor of power, in the corridor of leadership? Then there is something that, that I'm just thinking about, which somehow, it will sound fun, but I'll just say it. Now, it wasn't a computer that tested and announced this result. Human being examined them. We shouldn't be seeing a situation where this is more or less setting the stage for confusion, setting the stage for the unexpected, or for the expected, for the negative expectation of the electoral system, the result that the forthcoming local government election in Kano State is going to produce for us, or for the people of that state. You know, now, out of the 20, can we be sure that they were wearing handshake for certain candidate to be declared to be drug addicted, and then there are some that are drug addicted because of the handshake, then their names were removed? Such that if you disqualify these 20, how is the people of that state going to be sure that the other persons that are coming out have not had a handshake with the NDLEA officials? We have known the NDLEA as one uncompromising body. Okay, let me say a body that should have zero tolerance for corruption, for compromise. But given that this is our country, with all the record of corruption that litter every level of our existence, can we say that there wasn't any kind of handshake, you know, to declare some persons suitable and some unsuitable, or some persons addicted and some not? So that is even my main concern. Then finally, now this is like somebody promising a bride, once I get married, 30 things I used to do, if I wouldn't do them again, then tomorrow we'll see divorce. Why? Because he made so 30 promises to me and he failed to keep them. So what is the result of this test? Is it going to now serve as a deterrent to make sure that those who will eventually emerge are free from drugs, and even though they aren't free before they participated, because they have not told us expressly that these people are no longer going to take part in the election. We haven't heard that from them, if I'm not mistaken, from the NDLEA. Now, if eventually they get there, are they going to turn a new leaf? Or the people of Kano State are going to have local government administrators that will now be paid allocation directly from Abuja, and then at the end of the day, instead of them to use it to develop the state, they rather use them to acquire more cannabis and feed their systems.
We are also looking at 484 councillorship positions to be filled. Are there concerns concerning on the results that might come out if the councillors also go through?
All of them are human beings to start with. Then on a side note, I forgot to mention that our ladies were found not to have, any of our ladies were found not to have tested positive. So maybe the people of that state, if a drug addiction is one thing that will guarantee poor leadership, then maybe the people of that state will be rooting for all-female electoral candidates. So that aside, now the councillor, those coming for councillor, if they are tested, yes, it's a matter of proportion. You can see that the percentage is looking like a reflection of the wider society. So the probability that a lot of the councillorship candidates being returned positive as far the drug test is concerned.
What will be the effect? What will be the effect?
Yes.
I mean, not just Kano State now. I'm talking in general. What will be the effect? Because I do know that Kano State is on center stage now. Other states, if given the opportunity by NDLEA and they do the same test, definitely there will be some culprits. If we have a drug-fueled political system, what are the effects what could be the likely effects on our political system?
Then Nigerians will begin to see that apart from the fact that our politicians are stealing their monies and then initiating projects that are never completed for decades, then we actually have an unknown monster, or a monster that was not known, to the public, which is this issue of drugs. So the effect is a public losing faith, the depth to which the public is losing faith on its public officials has just gotten deeper. Now, if we use that as an estimate across the country, then it means that about 35 to 40% of our senators are drug addicts. Out of assembly members, our governors, then out of 10 persons who have been present in this country, about 4 of them have been drug addicts. So that is a low point as far as our political space and leadership of the country is concerned. And then it is a call on those who are saddled with the responsibility of leadership, as far the sanitation of the public space, getting the public space, getting rid of drugs and drug addiction in the public space is concerned. It is a call of them to double their effort, for them to stop paying lip service as far their call to duty is concerned.
All right. That will take us to the last but not the least story for today. The All Progressive Congress have attributed the current economic hardship in Nigeria to the failure of previous administrations, including that of the former President Muhammadu Buhari, to implement necessary reforms. In a statement released by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Barrister Felix Morka, the APC argued that the past leaders avoided taking bold economic steps which contributed to the country's economic stagnation. Morka stated that President Bola Tinubu's administration is committed to making tough decisions to address long-standing economic challenges. He acknowledged that while the reforms have led to increased hardship, They are essential for the country's recovery and future stability. He criticized previous governments for delaying critical reforms, implying that their reluctance to act has left Nigeria in the current economic state that we have found ourselves. Do you agree?
Well, first
I mean, the APC is saying that
yes,
the previous APC government
and
is also
it's also culpable.
Yeah, it's also
of
culpable.
course. There's no way every sane person in this country will not agree by what he says. But where I'm looking at is, can any listener pay attention to what he's saying? Now, can he say that his hands are clean when it comes to equity? So that is where it's more important to me. That's where my own attention is, because we are talking about the Tinubu administration.
Yes.
Can we say that? Can we say that the Tinubu administration has scored very high as far as implementation of reform and certain policies that will move this country forward is concerned? Can we say that it has done well so far? For this is pushing 2 years now that the administration came to power. It's a big debate, and then we see more people on the opposing side that the current government has not equally done well. Then looking at his statement on the face value, then we can actually say yes, they are right. From the Obasanjo administration, Yaradua, Goodluck Jonathan, Buhari administration, they haven't been, they have not, none of them, we can look at the outcome of the administration and say that they deserve a mark of 50%. So, so that is just, but the only thing we are looking at now is, going forward, we have a new government that's barely 1 year old. What can we say this government has done in charting a way forward from the low this other previous administration they are talking about now is concerned? What exactly are they doing? Is it the petroleum sector? We heard that last year, December, the Port Harcourt refinery is going to be giving us a fuel. Then the issue of there will be subsidy is gone, being his opening statement when he was, addressing Nigeria in his inaugural speech. We expected that that refinery will come on stream, so that whatever pains Nigerians are passing through as a result of the singular pronunciation, what has happened today? From December, we go to January to February, February to March, March to April. In fact, we started using the month that Port Harcourt refinery is going to come on stream to think like as if we are in kindergarten. Then you talk about reform as far as infrastructure is concerned. What can we hold on to that the Tinubu administration has done? I, for one, I'm a traveler with the high cost of flight and now travel by road. There is hardly an interstate movement by road that you go through that you will not see that our federal roads are far dilapidating. Then when you go through those roads, you begin to ask yourself, where is FEMA? Then if FEMA is no longer in existence, what is the Ministry of Works doing as of today? Then or which other body has replaced FEMA that our roads are in dead disrepair? Then the Goodluck Jonathan administration, at least then I was in school, I traveled a number of higher institutions across the country. I can say very well that infrastructure-wise in our higher institution, I'm talking about buildings for classrooms, for students and lecturers to be able to, learn. That administration did very well. But go to our school today, how many signages can we count that are a reflection of what the current administration is doing in the education sector? Or are we talking about our foreign relations, where our visa, as it will continue to lose its face value, our citizens across other parts of the world are not accorded the kind of respect or honor that is due to them as people coming from this country? So what exactly is he going to tell us that's a pointer as far as, a deviation from the norm of the abnormality of the previous government of this country is concerned? So before it comes to the public to start telling us that the Tinubu administration is doing this, doing that, it should do an evaluation of the past 1 year of this administration and tell us where this government has taken us. Maybe from after that we can now start listening to him.
Does the APC look like they are taking us to the promised land?
when they say that action speaks louder than words. Now, if you listen to them, it looks that like there is something of that nature. But when you look at their action, it leaves a lot to be desired.
All right, all stands to be tested even at the end of the first tenure of the Tinubu administration. We have been picking the brains and the analysis and the thoughts and criticisms of our political analysts in-house. I'm talking of no other than Vincent Ogenekewe Okoro. I want to say thank you for sharing your time and your analysis with us.
Always my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Your input is very, very much appreciated.
Thank you very much. It's always my pleasure.
All right, from your host, Raymond Kenimbata, I said this is where we wrap it up, and I implore you to stay connected on our ATN socials, on our Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, or watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. And don't forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. Until we come your way, same time tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on Atn Politics today. Every day our lives are changed.